Hey y'all, welcome to Back Porch Cooking and Reminiscing. We're the Morgans, and as always, we're happy to have y'all here with us today. So today we're going to do something that over the years that we've been in the restaurant business, um, many people have asked us for the recipe for this. And I pretty much refused to ever give it to anybody because it was our recipe that we came up with on our own. But today, I'm going to give it to everybody. No charge, anything. You'll be able to make this at home. And it is our Up in Smoke barbecue sauce. It's a super simple recipe. And most people always thought that it was something really complicated, but it isn't, as you'll see when I show you this recipe. So that's going to be the star of the video today. But I'm also going to bake some boneless pork ribs that I found at a good deal the other day. And normally I would smoke them, but I don't have my smoker here at home yet. And plus it's 30-something degrees outside. So not really wanting to get out there and do that in the cold weather. But so when we come back, we will get started on the recipe for the barbecue sauce, and I'm going to show y'all how to make it. All right, y'all. So first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get these ribs started and get them in the oven. And basically, I've just put them in a baking dish, put about a half a stick of butter on top of them, some salt and pepper, and that's all that I'm going to do to those ribs. Like I say, normally I'd smoke them, but not going to happen today. So we're going to wrap these in aluminum foil. And then we'll get them in the oven. I've got the oven preheated 350 degrees. Alright, so that's got those ready. And we'll just get those in that oven. And let those babies cook away. Alright, so now we're ready to get started on the barbecue sauce. Alright, so first thing I did was out of one of these big bottles, this is a 64-ounce bottle of ketchup. I used almost the whole bottle here down to about right around in here. The reason I did it that way is because when I made it in the restaurant, we made like about 4 gallons of sauce at a time. So I'm trying to break this down to where that you're not going to have 4 gallons of sauce. You can make a small batch and it'll still taste like we did. So I broke everything down to exact measurements. So we want about 57 ounces of ketchup in the pot. So that's about what we got. So 57, 58, could be a little more, a little less, but that's about what we want. So just remember, take it down to about right here, and then that should give you right around 57 ounces. All right, so now the next thing we're going to do, and I'm going to put this recipe in the description for you so you can follow along with it. But the next thing we're going to put in there is a half a cup of apple cider vinegar. All right, now this one is the tricky one on the water, because with the water, again, when I made 4 gallons, I knew exactly how much water I needed. With this, I'm not 100% sure, so we're just going to have to pour some in and keep pouring it in until I get the consistency that I need. So we're going to go ahead and put a little water in there with that. Again, not sure yet just how much water we're going to need. Now we're going to get us a whisk, and we're going to mix that up real good, see what we're looking like with the water and the apple cider vinegar. Now I've got the stove turned on. It's on about a 4. Don't want it to get super hot just yet. But we're going to stir this around and see where we're at. And again, we can always add more water to it. No big deal on that. But yeah, definitely we'll have to have a little more water than what we got in there right now. So let's put us a little bit more in there. Again, don't get too much because if you do, you're going to have to get you some more ketchup and kind of add just some more ingredients to this. We'll, at the end, we'll see how much water we got left in the pitcher, and that'll kind of give you a little bit of an idea of how much water that you need. Now, for those of you that have never had Up in Smoke barbecue sauce, it's a thin sauce. It's not thick like what you get at the store. It's a very thin sauce, and so that's how we're going to show you how to do that. All right, so our next ingredient that we're going to put in there is going to be a half a cup of white sugar. So we're just going to pour our white sugar in there. I'm going to go ahead and stir that around, get it mixed up in that. All right, and now we're going to add a half a cup of brown sugar. Now this is kind of a light brown. You can use a dark brown if you want to. We just always use the light brown sugar, so we're going to put that in there. All right, got all that. And we're going to stir it around again. Get all that sugar mixed in. Which that's one of the big things with this sauce is you do have to keep stirring it. Because if you don't, that sugar is going to go to the bottom and then it's going to scorch if you got your heat turned up too high. And in the restaurant, of course, we always use gas to do our stove, and so it heated a little quicker than the electric and wasn't very forgiving at all. Alrighty, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put in, this is a tablespoon of onion powder, a half a tablespoon of dry mustard, and half a tablespoon, or no, sorry, quarter tablespoon of black pepper. So we're going to just pour all that in. Okay. And then again, we stir everything around. Y'all, when we first started with the food truck, we were set up one day and had this man and woman come up and they got barbecue, and of course we always put our sauce on the side. We never put the sauce on the meat. But so they'd got their food and they went back to their vehicle and they were going to sit in the vehicle and eat. Well, they'd been there a while. We were fairly busy, so really hadn't paid a lot of attention to what they were doing, but they'd been there long enough to have eat, and I look up and the man is standing at the window of the truck. And I'm, of course, thinking to myself, well, there's something wrong. You know, he wouldn't be back if he was happy with everything. So I said, open up a window, and yes, sir, can I help you with something? He said, do you make this barbecue sauce? And I said, yes, sir. I said, we do, we make it. And he said, well, I want to tell you, he said, you need to bottle this barbecue sauce and sell it. He said, this is some of the best barbecue sauce I have ever tasted, and I've eaten barbecue all over the country. And I thanked him, of course, and you know, you wouldn't believe how many times that I have heard this from people about this barbecue sauce and how that we need to bottle it and sell it. But unfortunately, the thing with doing that is it's going to cost between $10,000 to $20,000 to be able to get set up to actually manufacture and package this barbecue sauce. So a little more money than I'm willing to spend for packaging up barbecue sauce, and then you got to figure out a way to sell it. So probably we're never going to be able to do that. But again, like I say, so many times that we've been told how that we should bottle this and sell it. Another story or two here about our barbecue sauce is had over the years had so many people say, you know, if you wouldn't yell at me for doing it, I'd turn this sauce bottle up and just drink this stuff. That's how much people loved it. And got one guy that he would come in and he would actually order a pound of barbecue and a pint of this barbecue sauce. And he would sit there at the table and he would fill that pulled pork full of this barbecue sauce and he'd just go to town on it. He loved it. And even after we moved from the mountain and we were a little further away from him, he would still occasionally, he'd come in or he'd send his wife in just to get a pint of this barbecue sauce because he said he used it on chicken, pork, just, you know, anything that he wanted to put barbecue sauce on, he would use this sauce on it. And Kirby, if you're listening and watching, you know it's you I'm talking about. So hope you enjoy this video of me showing you how to make this barbecue sauce, because now you'll be able to do it at home. All right, so we're going to let this come to a light boil. We don't want it to boil hard. We just want it to boil just a little bit so that all those ingredients will break down and marinate into that ketchup, and then we'll see if we need any more water to go in it. So I'm gonna take a break here and let this come to a low boil, and then we'll be back with you here in just a little bit. All right, y'all, so we brought this to just a real light boil, just basically where we could see some bubbles starting to come to the top of it. And then we cut the temperature down to about a 1.5, and just kind of let it simmer for about 30 minutes. And so now it is ready. Now, one thing, you know, I haven't made this sauce in probably 3.5 months, so I thought I knew exactly what went in this sauce, but I did forget 2 ingredients that goes into the sauce, and that is Worcestershire and lemon juice. So again, when I put the directions or in the description, I will correct that, but you want to use 1/3 of a cup of lemon juice and 1/3 of a cup of Worcestershire sauce, and that goes in there too. Now, as far as the water goes, we used about a half of this pitcher, and I believe that this pitcher is I think it's a 64 ounce, so about half of that in water, that'd put us at about 32 ounces of water in it. Now, one of the things that we used to do at the restaurant, we made our sauce a mild sauce. It wasn't hot, but when we had somebody that wanted hot sauce, we would use this. And you can get this, I've seen it in Walmart, I believe I've seen it in Kroger. It's a chili habanero hot sauce, El Yucatano. I'm probably not pronouncing that right, but it's yellow bottle with blue sides on it, and it is very hot, so don't use a lot of it. Usually we would put just a little bit in it, and try it and see if it was hot enough. It will change the flavor just a touch, but it's actually a good flavor change too. Now, speaking of flavor, when you get your sauce done, you take a taste of it. What you're going to get is you're going to get the sweetness of the sauce on the front end. Then you're going to get the bite of the vinegar on the back end, and that's the way it's supposed to taste. Sweet on the front, vinegar on the back. And I think that's why everybody has loved this sauce over the years. But after it has set and simmered on very low for 30, 35, 40 minutes, it's ready to go. You can pour this into some type of a container, and you can put it in the refrigerator, keep it for probably at least a couple of weeks, maybe even longer, as long as you keep it refrigerated. But so now that this is done, we're just waiting on those ribs to get done. Once the ribs get done, I'll come back, put some of the sauce on it, put the ribs back in the oven, and let them bake with that sauce on them. So we'll be back when we get the finished product and let you see what the ribs look like. All right, y'all, so we've got the finished product here. Our ribs are done. While we were waiting on that, we went ahead and fried some potatoes, made some crescent rolls. So this is going to be our supper for tonight. Looks good to me. I'm sure it's going to taste great. And again, just like I tell y'all all the time, if you try this recipe for this barbecue sauce, just taste it after you get everything done. If you think it still needs something, then go ahead and put you some more on there. Remember, this is a thin barbecue sauce. It's not thick like what you get in the grocery store. Of course, you can make it thick or thin. You know, if you want it thicker, don't add as much water to it, and you know, just however you like it. But so I'm getting ready to have me a bite of this and see how good everything is. And remember, we're going to put the ingredients and the directions in the description, so y'all can go back and follow to make that. And you know, I'm not doing the description on the ribs and the potatoes and all that, because again, the star of this is the barbecue sauce. So give me just a second here, and we're going to take a bite and see how everything is. Now, for those of you who don't know, quite honestly, even though I've been in the barbecue business for over 10 years, I'm not really a huge fan of barbecue. So for me personally, I would just as soon to have had the ribs with no barbecue sauce on them at all. But wanted y'all to see what it looked like and everything, so I'm gonna give it a taste here. It does have barbecue sauce on it. So there's my first bite of ribs with barbecue sauce, and let's see how it tastes. That is some kind of good. Again, even though I don't really care that much for the barbecue taste, that barbecue sauce is good. The ribs are good and tender. Now, for those of you who like smoking, put it out on your smoker. Cook these, make you this barbecue sauce, baste those ribs with the barbecue sauce, and you're gonna be happy that you did. All right, y'all, so remember, hit that like, subscribe, leave us a comment down in the comments and let us know what you think, especially if you've had our barbecue sauce before. And again, just subscribe, help us grow the channel. And appreciate y'all watching, and we'll be back here in a few days with something else. I think Audrey is going to do some French toast, tiramisu French toast, I think is what she said. And that's something she used to make when she worked at one of the high class restaurants. And so I think she's going to make that for us here in the next few days. So y'all keep watching. Come back and see us. Thanks.